We're happy that you're here. We'd invite you to grab some more food and fill your mouth with cookies or sit down or wander around. We're certainly not going to be offended if you keep talking. We won't be offended if you need to leave because you've got something that you're running to. So just feel comfortable going back and getting something to drink or to eat and visit and leave when you need to, or if you've got a question you want to throw out at us, we're happy to answer it. But my name's Scott Wyatt. This is my wife, Kathy. Maybe we can just introduce ourselves kind of in a quick introduction, and then if anybody has a question, we'd be thrilled to just answer them. I can start talking and not stop. It's a skill I've developed over the years, and if you work at a university, you can start talking and not stop, but stop exactly 50 minutes later. But I'm not sure that I can stop 50 minutes later. Anyway, you want to say something?
Well, sure. We are just delighted to be here and be a part of this university and a part of Cedar City. You can just feel what a wonderful community this is just by walking around. It's interesting how that makes such a difference. We are excited for our family and children to be involved. We actually brought one daughter with us. She's a sophomore at Cedar and has...
We left the other ones somewhere on the street. They were complaining and we told them to get out of the car and walk. But they're from Pioneer Stock. They'll get here eventually.
We actually have 4 children. Our oldest son, he's been married a year and a half. He just graduated with his bachelor's degree at Utah State in Asian Studies, and he's now applying for law school and hoping to find out in the next few months where he will go. Our next daughter is also married. In fact, this is her 3rd anniversary today. She graduated from Utah State as well with a degree in interior design and education. And
she married somebody from Cedar City, but we're not going to tell you who he is because we don't want you to think poorly of the other side of the family based on us.
Anyway, she's expecting a child, so our first grandchild will be born in July 4th. We're excited about that.
Yeah, we're expecting him to be named Thomas Jefferson Wyatt, born on the 4th of July. I don't think they're going to go with that, but that seemed like a nice idea.
Our 3rd daughter, Abby, is a freshman at Snow College, and she has recently decided to transfer down here. She's majoring in communications. Yes. Applause. Yes, we're excited about that. She didn't want to come for the wrong reasons, because we were here or because, I don't know, someone, I think, mentioned to her it would be financially better because she could live with us. But she decided to just look at the department. It's communications is what she's majoring in. So she looked at the communications department here and up at Utah State and found that, well, most of you may know this already, but there's a master's degree offered here, which is not offered at Utah State, and it's a much broader degree here, which she was just thrilled about. So that was her decision-making process right there. So we're excited about that, and we're glad that that was offered here. Anything else?
I'm adding color commentary to this story if you haven't figured that out. If we'd have told her she had to come here, she'd be going to UNLV or somewhere. We told her we wanted her to make a decision. And then our youngest daughter's 15, is going to Cedar High and having a nice time. It's a good experience. Well, both of our parents were in education. Kathy's father taught his whole career. My father taught in the electrical engineering department at Utah State, was a research scientist in space dynamics lab. So we both kind of grew up in the college and university environment. I think many of you know that I started my career as an attorney. I represented cities and counties and did some prosecution work. So those of you that are engaged in being a city council member or mayor or something, I have enormous sympathy for you. I know that's one of the most thankless jobs that you can possibly have, and I'm hoping that over the course of the next 2 or 3 months that I have a chance to meet with the mayors and city council members of all of the communities in this whole region, because I'd like to hear, you know, what we can be doing to help your communities. Not just Cedar City, but all the different communities. It's fun for me. And then during that time, of course, we had a lot of involvement with Utah State University and then Snow College, and now we're here. So we keep moving from one college town to the next, and we keep going south, but it doesn't get warmer. So I don't know, those settlers that came here, they could have just gone a little further and been warm all year long. But we're thrilled to be here. This is a great, great opportunity for us, and I have a lot of relatives here, some that I know, some that I'm meeting, because our pioneer ancestors split up, and some of them came down here, Dixie, and some of them went north, and so we're happy to be making acquaintances with cousins as we move around town. My dad always brought me to southern Utah every spring, and we'd go hiking or riding jeeps in the mountains or something. And so for some reason or another, I associate all of southern Utah with my father. And in some respects, this just really feels like a home to me, because this is one of the 3 or 4 things that I think of when I think of my dad. He's been dead for 5 or 6 years. So this is just a wonderful community. We really connect, both of us, with the pioneer kind of community that this is. I like to tell people sometimes that my ancestors got stuck in Martin's Cove on their way west, and Kathy's ancestors bailed them out, which started a long tradition of Kathy and her family saving me and mine. And it's continued all the way to the present, as she picks up after me and brings my phone when I forget it at home and all those kinds of things. So anyway, I've taught at several different institutions. I've taught legal writing at the University of Utah as a teacher's assistant who taught the class. And I've taught political science and ethics, school law at Utah State University as an adjunct. I've served on 2 boards of trustees and spent 1 year on the State Board of Regents as the student representative, long time ago. Had a chance to serve in the Utah legislature on the Higher Education Appropriations Committee. So although I don't know that I know everything, and I'm not an expert at any particular area, we think that we've had experience in just about every facet of university life. Teaching as an adjunct, being the children of professors, working on the legislative level, the governance level, the administration level, the student level. We both served as student body officers in our different colleges when we were kids, and so we care deeply about the student experience. Anyway, there's kind of an introduction. We had a forum with the faculty and staff the other day, and I was hoping they would ask me questions like, what is your favorite color? What is your favorite hike? If you have a pet, what's its name? But of course, they threw out some pretty solid questions that I was happy to respond to. Do any of you have any questions you'd like to throw out? We're happy to answer anything. We don't want to talk all night. We'd rather just kind of visit, but we'd be thrilled to answer something. Well, since you asked, of course, it's red.
Mine too.
Kind of like this tie. Favorite bird? Let's see. You know, it'd have to be an owl. I think the great horned owl is my favorite bird, second only to the thunderbird. I had you going there, didn't I?
Hi, my name's Kurt Lambeth. I'm on the National Advisory Board. I'm humbled to have that position because I have roots in the community, and I'm really intrigued and inspired by education. The birds are 1 in 15. What are we going to do about that? And how do you what are you going to do with the sports programs, and how are you going to dial that into the university?
Yeah. Well, the first answer that I have is the coach came and asked me if I'd help. And I would, except my eligibility's run out. No, I know what I know what you're saying. We watched a sad game. They put in a valiant effort Monday night, and we'll continue to be very supportive and watch the games. I don't want anybody to think, even though I suggested that the coach asked me to help, I'm not really an athlete. I wish I was. I wanted to be. I mentioned to the faculty and staff the other day that I tried out for the football team and didn't make the cut and the coach told me I should try something like chess. So that's what I did. But I think that athletics is incredibly important in a school like this. One of the interesting statistics about this university is that 18% of the freshman class are from Iron County. What that means is that 82% of the freshman class had to make a decision to move here. And a lot of them moved from bigger communities where there are malls and all kinds of things to do. And it's very important that we have that full university life that helps draw them here and that makes it fun and engaging. And sports is also kind of the front door to the community where community members will engage with the university probably more through sports than maybe anything else. Not necessarily here because this university has Shakespeare and some extremely strong art programs, but for most universities, sports is the main entry, the main front door. So I hope that we can find ways to continue to improve the win record for all the sports. The football team sure did a spectacular job, didn't they? And the progress that they made, I believe, suggests that the basketball team can make the same kind of progress. And we're going to the gymnastics meet Friday. What a great team. How fun. They're just great fun. What we probably need is Brad Cook to tell the basketball team how to change that from 1:15 to 15:1 because, as you know, our provost was an athlete. Pretty good one.
President, one of the things you mentioned is
Yeah, we have launched this week a 100-day listening tour. A couple days ago, I was sitting with a group of students who are journalists, and they're in a journalist class, and they were grilling me with questions. And one of the questions was, so what are your top 3 priorities? And my answer was, I'm not going to tell you because it's too early for me to commit to 3 top priorities. I think I know what some of them are, but we've decided that this is all about you, really. This is all about the community. It's all about the university. And it's not about us. And it never has been, and it never will be. So before we roll out priorities, we're going to spend 100 days on a fairly intensive listening tour, mixed in with all the work that has to be done and running up to the legislature and taking care of those things. And so we have this very intense schedule of visiting with people, and these will be one-on-one meetings, small groups, larger forums like this one, designed to learn as much as we can. And if you go to our webpage, you'll find that every day we're updating this page about what we're learning. And by the time we get done with the 100 days, we'll roll out from what we've gathered from members of the community, faculty and staff, alumni, emeriti, everybody else. We'll roll out what those priorities are, because the best vision is here. You don't need to bring a vision here. The vision is here. And so we'll just fine-tune that and see how we can make our primary focus, how we can really be a benefit. So follow it. There's a link. You can send us any kind of comments. We'd love to hear any comment at all from anybody. I think that after announcing this yesterday afternoon, this morning we had 20 emails with questions that were sent to me that I can't answer them all immediately, but we'll answer them all so that you know what we're doing. This web page that has something about every day, I hope it doesn't get obnoxious. I've told them all that they can't make too much of a focus on me, because it's not about me, it's about everybody else. But they follow me around and take pictures. And hopefully the focus of this will be on what we're learning from you and everybody else. That's the idea. The first morning, Monday, 3 hours with our provost, Dr. Cook. Really nice conversation. I know that you're all proud of the school. You should be very proud of what's happening here. I'm convinced that this is the best place to get a bachelor's degree in Utah and perhaps in all of the Intermountain West. I'm absolutely convinced of that. And I could ramble on about that. We had some faculty members from one of the research universities in Utah come down and talk to us, and one of the things that one of these ladies said was that at her institution, you almost have to be a junior before you meet a real faculty member. That the freshman and sophomore classes are taught by graduate student assistants. Now, I'm sure they're doing a nice job, but they're not doing as nice of a job as the regular full-time tenured faculty member. It's a much, much better experience. We've also got a tremendous amount of data that says that a residential-like experience is much better than a commuter experience. You just simply, as a student, learn more. If you live in the community, is then you don't drive to school and then come home and drive to school and come home. You move. And if 82% of the freshmen here moved here, they're more likely to engage with their faculty members after class. They're more likely to be involved in a club. They're more likely to have extracurricular and co-curricular activities. All of that supports the learning. This is a spectacular place. It is really a wonderful, wonderful school. And we've got a lot of great universities and colleges in Utah, and I've been to a couple of them, and so has Kathy. But we're so honored to be here because of the great quality that this place is and the wonderful people that live here. Yes, that is the most enjoyable part. The question was, have I had a chance to meet some of the students? Is Jeff here by chance? He had to leave. Over the Christmas break, we crashed the student body officers retreat. Spent a couple hours with them and had a lot of fun. We only went because there was food, but we had a group of students that were part of the selection committee, 35 or 40 students. And when we were done with the interview, I told them that if we got the job, that I wanted to repeat this interview. Only I wanted to be asking them questions instead of them grilling me with questions. So Saturday morning, we're having breakfast with these students. And we're going to spend the whole time with us peppering them with questions about what we can do to make things better for them. Pretty fun. And anyway, we've got a lot of time scheduled with students. I had a great opportunity at Snow College to be able to teach every semester, and I think that was one of the most enjoyable things about that experience at Snow College was the students. The comment was, I hope you teach ethics while you're here. Ethics is a very fun topic. Claude Burtonshaw? I know Claude Burtonshaw. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Oh. Would you all please, if we don't have a chance to visit before you leave, if something comes to your mind that you think is important, that you'd like me to know, would you please go to the suu.edu. Amy, what's the? Okay. suu.edu/100 days. And there's a little link that you can click and send me an email message, and I'll collect them and let you know. But the important part of this is we need to know what you need us to do to serve your families, this community, and continue to build this university. That's what we need to know.
I grew up here. It's a very conservative community with wonderful people and wonderful ideals and values and morals. There's a distinction between church and state. And SUU is not, little BYU. And how do you propose that we grow and we embrace others in Southern California, our demographic, Phoenix, Las Vegas, people that are different than us? How can you help us? How can you help the university engage these students and bring them to Southern Utah to learn?
Well, I think you're asking a big question. Let me give you one response to that. I met with a group of students the other day and suggested that one of the things they ought to do is find someone different than them. Perhaps a student from another country, perhaps a student from another part of this country, but find somebody very different from them that they don't know. Maybe somebody that looks lonely or out of place or lost. Or maybe somebody from a place that the student would like to travel to. They find a student that's here from Korea or whatever country, and just find someone and make them a friend. And then engage them on a real level, not just let's go bowling together, but to talk about how it was like to grow up in another country or in Southern California, and what is your family like, and what does your family do for work, and what did you do as a kid? And if you have that kind of a discussion with somebody from another country, pretty soon you really start getting an education, and it's a global one, and we start learning respect and appreciation for other people. And not just to do that short term, but to try to make a lifetime friend out of somebody from far away. I think if everyone that grew up in Iron County and Beaver County and Kane County and Washington County and Salt Lake County that are going to school here, if everyone did that, this would be the most warm, welcoming, inviting place in the world. And every single student here would gain something that can't be taught in a classroom. That's one of the beauties of the university experience. And then not to just have that friend through the time of their university life, but maybe continue that friendship after and keep going. Anyway, I think that's one of the kinds of things that we can do, is to just be more welcoming and inviting. And that's a value that every religion shares, is the charity kinds of things. But it's really about friendship and welcoming and learning, growing. There may be other things that we can do. When I went to school, there were a lot of students from other parts of this country and around the world. But I really just hung out with the kids that I knew when I grew up, or the friends in my major. And I think I missed out on a big part of the education. I thought I had a friend from Kuwait, and he was a friend of mine, but we never had a conversation about his life in Kuwait. We just had a life in America together. It could have been much more rich for me, and it would have been a richer experience for him too. Any other questions or comments or suggestions? Yes.
Townspeople. Is there any way the townspeople can interact with the students there? I mean, myself, I interact a lot with the professors here and staff and so on, but there's seems to be no way to interact with the students. And you talked about how students should interact with each other, but when we talk about the townspeople, you sometimes have this, what they call the town and gown problem.
I think that townspeople can do the exact same thing. I think that if you live here and you're not connected or are connected with the university, if you want to have a wonderful opportunity, you should just look for one of the international students and walk up and introduce yourself to them and perhaps invite them to dinner. What an incredible opportunity. And if you invite them to dinner, tell them you'd like to learn something about their country or the state that they're from. And we happen to have kind of a fondness for Congo. I had a chance to visit the Democratic Republic of Congo this last summer, and there are some people in Ephraim, and part of this visit to Congo was to partner with the university in Congo, get to know the government, and recruit some students. And so we have about 15 to 20 students from the Congo that are now attending Snow College. And there are some members of the community who have gone out of their way to help some of these Congolese students. And they've taken them to activities that they go to. They've invited them to their own separate church events and other things. And they're not trying to convert anybody. They're just trying to make a friend. And they've had them over to their homes for dinner and just had a wonderful, wonderful experience. It would be great if everybody did something like that. We have international students. We have had international students over at our home a lot of times, and it's fun. So there's an opportunity. That's an education without a dime of tuition. Travel is one of the greatest ways that you can learn, and if you're not traveling, You can have the same experience right here. So go find one of the Saudi Arabia students or South Korea students or French students from France. Say, would you please come over to our home and have dinner with us? There you go. Yeah.
What chance have we got of you bringing Carl Purcell with you?
The question was, how can I bring Carl Purcell with us? And Carl Purcell is a wonderful artist, retired faculty member who is very stuck where he is. The odds are pretty low. But I had a nice opportunity to visit with several of the faculty members in the art departments. You may have heard that I made a comment that was quoted in the Tribune. Something about Democrats throwing pots. I don't know if you read that. I thought it was kind of a funny comment. It was not making fun of Democrats or making fun of artists. If anything, it was making fun of Republicans, which I am one. But when I came down here, I decided the first faculty member I needed to talk to was this ceramist faculty member. He said, I hope I didn't offend you with that comment. And we had a great hour-long conversation. I am terribly impressed with the art department here. So it would be fun to have Carl here, but I'm not sure you need him. You got a great, great department. This concept of liberal arts is a confusing concept for many people. I've had a hobby of continuing to study, and over the last few summers, I've gone to Ohio on vacation time to study. And I found this place that has 1 week-long intensive courses in American history and government, which is something I love. And so I'll take a class. It happens to be a university that has an incredible business department, a whole lot of exciting science departments. And it's referred to as a liberal arts university. And if I'm in Ohio and I say to somebody I'm attending Ashland University, which is a liberal arts school, they all say, oh, wow, that's spectacular. You're going to get a great job. I'm not looking for a job. That must be a great school. But when you're in Utah, people don't understand the concept of liberal arts. So anyway, I'm rambling, aren't I? Is 50 minutes up yet? Any other questions? Southern Utah, as you know, is the state's designated liberal arts and sciences university. And I'm quite proud of that. It's not a very easy thing, though, to sell, so we won't put that on billboards. But liberal arts means that you get a broad education that prepares you for a variety of careers. And if you have one job and then move to another and move to another, it helps you prepare for all of those careers. This university has always been kind of a liberal arts university. And frankly, most of our universities in Utah are liberal arts universities. They all espouse a broad-based education. So the title's a little confusing around here, but it's a little confusing throughout all of Utah. I just like to think of it as an exceptionally good place to go to school and prepare for a job. Any other questions? Or comments or rebuttals? Or Kathy and I are very secure people, so if at any time we say something stupid, just let us know. We can handle it. It's not just the students here that plan to learn. It's us. Well, we can keep mingling. I think I met somebody today that was in the class of 1936. So I need a lesson from you about the history of this place. Thank you.